Ethiopians are voting in national elections on Monday. It's a day of reckoning for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed as he hopes to boost his legitimacy with the vote. At his first and last campaign rally this week, he said his main goal was to uphold what he called the unity and freedom of the country. The election is taking place against a backdrop of tensions. Now let's quickly take a look at how we got here. In 2018, Abiy rode to power on a wave of optimism after 3 decades of oppressive rule dominated by the Tigrayan People's Liberation Forces, or TPLF, a party anchored in the northern region. Now, after taking office, Abiy made peace with neighboring Eritrea, bringing an end to a 20-year conflict. But that move earned him the prestigious Nobel Peace Prize. But it also angered the TPLF forces who neighbor Eritrea. Then last year, Abiy sent the army into the northern Tigray region to crush the TPLF. Thousands have been killed and millions displaced. To make matters worse, ethnic violence has flared elsewhere. Hundreds have died in clashes on the border between Oromia and Amhara, the country's 2 most populous states. Critics accuse Abiy of denying states with different ethnicities more autonomy. It's led some opposition figures to boycott the poll. Now, we will be discussing what is at stake for Ethiopia, but first we turn to the Prime Minister's home region in Oromia to find out what voters there make of the man.
A rally in favor of Abiy Ahmed's Prosperity Party, close to his hometown in the Oromia region. It was here that crowds of young people went out on the streets in 2018 to support Abiy. In this district, many still do.
Based on the work he has achieved, we believe that the Prosperity Party can transform this country. The work he did until now shows that he can bring a lot of things for our future. We believe this party equalizes our nations and nationalities.
Despite violence between government forces and local insurgent groups in several parts of Oromia state, officials in the Prime Minister's home village of Beshasha say there's nothing to worry about.
We have organized the community leaders, or village leaders, and they are ready to keep the environment peaceful. We are ready to protect the area from any conflict.
Abiy's birthplace might guarantee safe polls, but in other parts of Oromia, unrest is rampant. Oromo armed groups actively contest the holding of elections, claiming they're undemocratic and that the current government is illegitimate. The 2 main opposition parties in Oromia decided to withdraw. Their main leaders are behind bars. This young man is too scared to speak publicly, fearing reprisal from authorities. He was among many who celebrated when the Prime Minister came to power, but he's lost trust in the government.
We are hearing about the loss of so many lives, and the numbers are increasing day by day as we come closer to the election time. We are still hearing that people are being killed. Those who are in prison, as well as opposition parties, should be set free. There should be a discussion with the people, and there should be a national dialogue. I ask the government to do this in a peaceful way, without any loss of life.
Especially in Western Oromia, clashes between the Oromo Liberation Army and federal forces pose a major threat to the elections. Interethnic violence has also left hundreds dead and thousands displaced. As a consequence, several constituencies will not be able to vote on June 21st. The international community has warned of electoral violence. To reduce the risks, the European Union held trainings such as this one to provide tools for peace building, targeting women, youth groups and traditional leaders.
The civil society can play a great role in terms of preventing, managing and mitigating of electoral violence. That leadership helps them to play active role in the negotiation process. They play active role in bringing different parties together for building peace. That role also helps them to have a mediation role.
Through the vote, Abiy Ahmed seeks to establish his political legitimacy, but the Prime Minister is facing various challenges, including the conflict in Tigray, for which he's facing mounting pressure at home and abroad.
And for more on Ethiopia's election, we've invited Adema Bebe onto the program. He is an advisor and an analyst on democracy in Africa. He specializes on Ethiopia. Welcome to DW News Africa, Dr. Bebe. We've heard that this election could chart a new path for Ethiopia. In fact, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said it could build or break the country. Help us understand what is at stake in this election.
Thank you very much for the invitation. So the elections are critical in a sense because the last time Ethiopia had elections was in 2015. And at that particular time, it was a dominant ruling party that won all the seats. And since then, Abiy Ahmed came to power in April 2018, and he has also established a new political party. So this is the first time that Abiy Ahmed, as an individual, and his ruling Prosperity Party, as a party, will face the voters. So in that sense, it's critical for the ruling party more than for the country. In terms of the larger people, I think I don't expect the elections to be a make or break moment, partly because the two places where the ruling party could have faced a tremendous challenge have been affected by different disputes. One in Tigray because of the conflict, and secondly in Oromia region, which is the largest region in Ethiopia, because of boycotts from the elections.
We'll talk more about that in a moment, Dr. Bebe. But I first want to ask you, how much does Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed need to win this election? How much does he need to be able to say, I have a mandate from the people?
I think that there's really no question that he's going to win the elections. Perhaps the question is by how much. And he needs the victory, partly because currently his mandate originates from an election in 2015, which was a farce. So he wants a renewed mandate, and these elections can provide him that claim. Although, as I said, there's a lot of issues around the elections that may affect that claim.
Dr. Bebe, doubts have been raised by the international community about the credibility of this election. Is this going to be a free and fair poll?
That certainly was the expectation when Abiy Ahmed came to power in 2018, and also in 2020 when the elections were initially supposed to happen. But a lot has happened since then. There is an ongoing conflict in the Tigray region of Ethiopia, and the elections in Oromia have been boycotted by the key opposition groups. And even in other parts of the country, opposition parties have faced challenges in terms of presenting their candidates and operating freely and fairly. So I think free and fairness would be a high standard. But if you compare the elections with the ones that happened in the past, and they provide quite a low bar, we can say that these elections would be better. Perhaps I think that the biggest beneficiary, if I can say, of these elections would be the Electoral Board, which has developed tremendous experience and tremendous expertise in terms of managing elections. And I think that experience will be relevant going forward.
Dr. Bebe, you've said that, from what you're saying, an election isn't going to fix the country. What does Ethiopia need? Going on your assumption that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed will win this election, what's he got to do to tackle some of the most pressing issues in the country? And of course, that will be the tensions in the different regions seeking autonomy, Oromia for one, that you have been referring to.
No, you're right. I think the elections, you can argue they are necessary. We can argue if they are desirable. But one thing that we know is that the elections are not going to solve the problems of power balance, the political divisions that we see in the country. They cannot, and they are not meant to solve those issues. So if we can, if the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed gets a new mandate and a new claim of legitimacy, he would do well to engage, in rebuilding confidence, because I think the level of trust and confidence has suffered, partly as a result of the circumstance under which the elections are being held, and partly because of other reasons. So I think he would do well to first rebuild confidence and then engage in a comprehensive dialogue to resolve the key issues between himself and some opposition parties as well as those that are outside of the electoral competition at the moment. So I think dialogue will be critical, and without it, the elections may not have made much difference.
All right. Dr. Adem Abebe, thank you for your insights.
Thank you very much.